Hey cultivators, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm really excited to share with you how you can boost your confidence during the interview process. Now, after coaching hundreds of job seekers through the interview phase, as well as being on both ends of the interview table, as the interviewer as well as the interviewee, I can tell you first and foremost, most people, including myself, get really nervous for interviews. It's completely normal to get interview jitters, and I actually take that as a good sign because when you feel a little bit anxious, it means that you really care about this opportunity and you just want to perform your best. So acknowledge that first and foremost. Whatever you're feeling is completely normal. At that same token, I want to make sure that you can push past the anxiousness and make sure that you're exuding confidence, because confidence really does breed confidence. I want to just give you the perspective: if you're sweating, if you're feeling like you're unprepared, you feel really anxious, and you bring that energy into the interview room, sometimes you might self-sabotage because you're stumbling across your own words, or you have incomplete sentences, and or you're just rambling so quickly that it's hard for the interviewer to connect with you. So stick around to the very end of this video as well, because if you are struggling with getting interviews turned into offers, boy, do I have a very special offer for you. So without further ado, let's dive into this video. Okay, so tip number one is a really fun one, and that is to come up with your brag list. Now, I know a lot of us have been taught growing up not to brag and not to toot our own horn, but instead we should be really humble. But I want to remind you that in your interview process, generally speaking, you only have 30 minutes to an hour to convince an employer why they should hire you on their team for years to come, right? And so this is not the time to be bashful. I want you to come up with a list, like do this right now actually. I want you to pull up a piece of paper or pull up a Google Doc, and at the very top write 50 reasons why I should get this job. And I want you to come up with 50 wins, no matter how big or how small they are, of just the reasons why you're qualified for this particular role, or why this company or employer is really lucky to have you. They could be really small wins, like I show up on time every day, to I delivered 200% increase in revenue growth for my last employer. I really want to push you and challenge you as your self-appointed coach to come up with 50 reasons, because I know you can. And these could be soft skills to technical skills. This is a really cool exercise because one, you're going to start realizing, wow, I have a lot more to offer than I give myself credit for. And two, it's going to allow you to recall from fresh memory why you can contribute to certain areas that the interviewer is really digging into. And then three, I just want you to have this list in front of you before you go into the interview room. Maybe it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes before. Just review this list and give yourself a pep talk, because so many of us are listening to negative self-talk, but the truth of the matter is you have a lot to offer. So I really want you to read this list and remind yourself, oh yeah, this is why I was called into this interview, and this is why I'm going to crush this interview. All right, so we just talked about your brag list. Now let's move into tip number two, which is a piggyback off of that, and that is by creating your powerful affirmations. Affirmations are exactly what they sound like. We affirm what is true to us and what we really believe. Now, a lot of us are listening to this auto-program track that is often all of the negative reasons why we can't have a certain thing. So we might be telling ourselves false stories like, I'm not going to get that because I'm too old. I'm not going to get that because I don't have that industry experience. However, we can always rewrite that story. So looking at your powerful affirmations, I want you to come up with at least 10. These can start with I am or I have. For example, I have all of the required experience. I am going to walk into that interview room really confident. I am confident. I am prepared. So there's so many simple yet powerful affirmations that you can create for yourself. When you read this list back to you, you should feel really calm really prepared, really confident in going into your next interview, right? Because there's a difference between saying, I don't think I'm going to get this job, to I am going to get this job, right? We show up differently just by tapping into what it is that we're thinking and feeling. Let's inspire each other to create amazing, powerful affirmations. Be sure to comment below because I would love to read yours. All right, let's move into tip number 3, which is very tangible, and that is start using phrases like I know or I believe. A lot of people use the phrase I think, which is very natural, but it's also very passive. There's a difference between I think I'm the best candidate for this role to I know I'm the best candidate for this role, or I believe I'm the best candidate for this role, right? Just by starting your answers or your sentences off that way through the interview process is going to make a huge shift in the way that your energy is showing up, but also it's going to give that stronger affirmation of, wow, this person really feels strongly about what they're sharing versus I think. Start practicing this today with every conversation you have with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues. It doesn't have to be in the interview room. I just want you to move away from I think and start to become aware every time you start a sentence with I think and start to share I believe or I know. And you're going to get really good practice by the time you go into the actual interview. All right. The 4th tip is to be prepared for your interview. Now, we're not going to go into all of the things that you can do to prepare for an interview because quite simply that would take too long. I actually have coaching programs that are designed for all of that, including mock interviews. However, one thing that you can do to start moving into feeling fully prepared for your interview is by asking yourself just that very question. What do I need to do to feel fully prepared for this upcoming interview? For everyone, this answer is going to be different, right? Some people might feel like they need to recite a bunch of answers or write down a bunch of answers in order to fully prepare. Other people feel like they're a really natural interviewer, but maybe they want to be able to build a rapport with their interviewer and do some investigative research on their background. Other people might want to just know what exactly they're going to wear the next day instead of scramble at the last minute in the morning figuring out where their tie is, right? You want to just be really fully prepared, so come up with a list of what you need in order to feel ultra prepared throughout this process. By the way, if you want strategic support and guides and worksheets to help you with your upcoming interview, then don't forget to sign up for the free resource library link down below. There's tons of goodies in there. I believe, see what I just did there? I believe that you're going to have a ton of help and support just by going through that. So definitely snag it if you haven't already, and let's move on to tip number 5. All right, so tip number 5 is really simple, but don't be fooled by the simplicity because it is ultra powerful. This is all about connecting with your interviewer. I want you to make eye contact, I want you to smile, and pull from Dale Carnegie, who says the most beautiful sound to any human is their own name. I know so many people who say thank you, but they don't follow it up with the name. And it's a really easy way to build rapport because that person who hears their own name feels like they have a deeper connection or instant connection with this person who actually addressed them. So this could be used in several ways throughout the interview. It could be as simple as, thank you so much for inviting me in, Jill, or thank you so much, Janet. I really enjoyed our conversation today, or that's a really great question, Bruce. Let me think about that, right? So there's a lot of ways you can just sprinkle in somebody's name. You don't want to overuse it, but even if you can say it like 2 or 3 times during the entire interview process, you're going to be memorable. And that's really important. All right, so now that we've gone over the 5 tips, I want to just say, I promise if you can start to really step into these 5 tips and apply them to your upcoming interview, you're going to feel so much more confident walking in. And also, when you're more confident, you start to have more of a casual conversation rather than feeling like you're just having this grilling interview and this interviewer is trying to poke holes into your background or your experience. Now let me talk about the bonus that I have for you. If you are interested in having a mock interview, like getting real tangible feedback on all of your answers that you're sharing during the interview process, then I would love to invite you to have a mock interview session with me. I'm going to link it down below, and I also want to just give you a promo code for $100 off the session just by using YouTube 100 at checkout. This has really been a game changer for so many of my clients who fell short of the offer and not really understanding what they're doing wrong because, when you go through the interview process, Recruiters and hiring managers don't give you honest feedback. They just tell you, we loved you, but we went with another candidate. I want to take out the guesswork and help you not only identify your blind spots, but also help you craft stronger answers to where you're falling short. This has been such a game changer for clients who have been interviewing for multiple interviews and not getting the offer to like literally getting a mock interview and then going into the next interview and getting the offer. So if this sounds interesting to you, be sure to check out the link in the description. It's my way of saying thank you for watching, subscribing, sharing, commenting on this video, and until next time, I hope that you continue to cultivate your career. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I release this video next week. Until then, take care.